Hello, entrepreneurs, dreamers, business owners, and happy people with high hopes. Welcome to Cashflows with your host, Cash Matthews.
All right, greetings. Welcome to Cashflows. I am your host today, Cash Matthews, and we're glad you're here. I like our intro.
It's fun.
You know, to dreamers and people with high hopes.
That's right.
I don't know. I've always been the guy with high hopes.
Yep. Welcome to the B.O.N.G.
Yeah, so we're glad you're here, Mr. Kenneth Baucom. And we have a guest. We'll introduce him officially here in a minute, but we are glad to have you in the studio today. What's anything going on in your world, Kenneth?
There's a few different things at the moment. I'm just blending in with the furniture. Can you tell?
I think that looks pretty good.
Oh, thank you.
I think you're doing a good job, man.
Trying to match colors and patterns.
You're a
and
chameleonaire.
chameleon. Oh, okay. We'll go ahead and do the hit for that.
So, Kyle, we try to be funny here. We're not. We're
just a little bit.
We're two dudes who are not funny, but wish we were.
Hey, we've got it all on camera either way.
Yeah, so
that's true.
So we're golden.
That is true.
We got the attempt on camera, so we'll be on America's worst, funniest videos. Anyway, Cashflows is a show dedicated to taking steps. And on the logo behind us, you'll see the words fire, aim, ready. And, we get a lot of entrepreneurs on our show. And one of the things I've noticed in my career in business, which now is 42 years long, I can't believe it. I look 20,
yes.
But I started I started when I was 20 years old. I'm 62 today. But one of the things I've noticed, and I work with a lot of entrepreneurs, and I love entrepreneurs, and I love visiting with people that are they are crazy enough. We're the weird ones. We'll work 80 hours a week to avoid working 40 hours a week.
That's right.
Absolutely.
And these are my people, and these are your people as well. And but what I've seen with a lot of people that wish they were entrepreneurs is they have this thing where it's their system, their mechanism is sort of like ready, aim, and they never really pull the trigger. And I've always been a fire, aim, ready sort of guy. We started talking about this podcast not long ago. Now here it is, over 20 sessions.
Yeah.
Things are going great. What if we had failed? Then things wouldn't be going great.
That's right.
That's just how.
Pretty straightforward. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's a whole lot of nuance in trying, failing, succeeding. You just get out there, mix it up, stir up a bunch of crap, and see what happens. And I'm sorry, if my mom were alive, she'd smack me in the head for talking that way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so if I get mysteriously smacked in the head, I apologize.
Okay.
All right. So anyway, Cashflows is here. We're glad you're here today. And, we were just checking my AOL account. And, I'd gotten one of the new discs and got a few extra minutes on my AOL account. And I got some emails about you.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. I had an email come in about you from Verdigris, Oklahoma, actually.
I like to hear that.
Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah. We appear to be dominating that geographical area.
Wow.
Because that's one email, in 3 weeks.
That's great.
But they had a question for you.
What was that?
And I just wanted to share it with our studio audience, and I thought it was a fair question. So apparently you have fans.
Yes.
And
He's not surprised.
That is not surprising, right? Good guy, great voice, face for radio.
We're 23 episodes in. Like I'm surprised how much
Michael
mail
Jordan,
has been
23.
Number 23. You're working the 23 slot. Okay.
Yeah.
So here's a question from our listeners in Verdigris, Oklahoma. And they said, Cash, can you ask Kenneth this question? And here's the question. What's a guy like you doing in a nice place like this?
So speaking of promotions that we did in our last episode, right? Getting promoted there. I am now the ambassador of good vibes. Here to spread good cheer.
Oh, good vibes,
Yeah.
good cheer. Glad you're here.
Why, thank you. Thank you very much.
The ambassador of good vibes. The AGV.
HEV.
All right. Okay, very cool. You didn't know you're going to be with the ambassador of good vibes.
I had no
today.
idea when I walked in the chameleon was the ambassador.
The chameleon is the
Wow.
ambassador. All right. Well, very cool. Well, so our goal is just to have some fun here. We like to talk about things that matter in life, and we like to talk about progress over perfection. And our guest today is Mr. Kyle Miller. Kyle, welcome to our weird little show.
Thank you guys very much for having me.
Welcome to Cashflows. We're very, very glad you're here. Now, he calls his business, he's in the real estate biz, he calls it Miller by the Driller.
Yes, sir.
And that's the big statue in front of the Expo SageNet Center.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We love that area. A lot of things in my life big happened there.
Me as well.
And the National BMX Hall of Fame and the Grand Nationals of BMX racing are held in that very building since 1985. And that's I'm an old BMX guy for those who don't know it. And it's weird. My BMX world doesn't know I work on Wall Street. And they're like, wait, you have a suit? For real. Like I meet people, they see a picture.
Wow.
But my Wall Street people don't know that I had a career in BMX racing.
Wow.
And I'll be in some kind of fancy meeting with them. I call them the muckety mucks.
The muckety mucks.
I'll be in a meeting with the muckety mucks, and they're like, "Hey, Cash, going to sound weird. We Googled you before this meeting, and there was a guy upside down, 15 feet in the air on a BMX bike." I'm like, yeah, that's me too.
Wow.
Oh, and I'm like, yeah, I'm 62. I still ride.
Yeah. Upside down in the air?
Well, not intentionally.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, none of those are intentional. Those are just the ones that make the internet. So,
right.
Anyway, we're here with Kyle Miller today, and we're going to talk to Kyle about his business and his life. And you're a lifer in Tulsa, right?
Yeah, lifer. I've lived in Oklahoma City for a decade, but I've traveled weekly for about 20 years from Oklahoma City to Tulsa.
So you're here half and half kind of thing?
Mm-hmm.
And that's awesome. I mean, and it's worth it. I mean, Tulsa's a beautiful place, and you're in the real estate investment world?
Yes.
And
Dabble all over. Dabble.
You're a dabbler, okay.
Yes.
Dabblers.
Number 23 is the dabbler.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, well, very cool.
I like to try all forms of it because I don't know what's right and what's wrong.
Well, I think that's a good way to figure it out. And I mean, being in real estate makes sense because not everybody, but almost everybody lives indoors.
Correct.
So I think you're going to food, clothing, shelter. Those are the three biggies.
Pretty important.
And
we've had some of indoors.
We've had some food people on.
Mm-hmm.
Have we had any clothing people on?
Well, we have someone who painted on their own clothing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't think that counts.
Yeah. The artist.
Oh, yeah. She was amazing.
Yeah.
That was really cool. And then so food. We've had a food lady. Micah was the food lady.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Kyle is the shelter guy. So.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
There we go.
We are glad you're here. So, Kyle, we met through this organization called the B.O.N.G, the Business Owners Networking Group.
Yes.
And you're what we call a lurker. And we love that.
I am a lurker.
We love that you're here.
I am a lurker.
We're glad you're here observing. I mean, I think that's a really great part of the process is to observe.
Mm-hmm.
When, a lot of the things I've done in my life, I observed and I watched for a while. And, with 5,500 members, not all of them are active, but here you are. This is really your first B.O.N.G event.
It is.
Man. How cool. Well, we're recording his first B.O.N.G event.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Thanks to the studio audience out there. Well, let's wave to every. Oh, they shut up when I started waving. Okay. Wow. Fun suckers.
If I can jump back 30 seconds, I do remember we did have one clothing person on. Samantha was on with Rialanis.
Oh, Rialana. Yeah, she sells baby clothing and kids clothing and adult clothing.
It's a great industry.
We are food, clothing, shelter here.
Boom, we have all three covered finally.
Here at the Cashflows. So we met you through B.O.N.G, and we're doing this initiative to move entrepreneurs out in front of the world.
Yes.
And so what did you see here? Well, you've looked at the B.O.N.G for a while. What do you see?
I see a group of people that are learning together, number one. And that's kind of how I got to my spot in my career was watching, aiming, and then saying, everybody check out this shot, and then taking the shot. A lot of people get hung up on their LLC.
Yeah.
That's the first hurdle.
Right.
So if you just pull the trigger there, you'll catapult in my opinion. After that, everything kind of falls into place. But that was it. I met a few people that I believe are all in the B.O.N.G.
All B.O.N.G members, okay.
And it gave me confidence that if these people are taking a risk and have a network to fall back on, then I'm going to jump in as well.
Well, man, we're really glad to have you. And I love real estate investors. I'm a real estate investor myself, and my brother is. And, it's just something that we've done for a little while. So it's great to see like-minded people, locking arms and moving forward together. And I hope we'll have a long relationship through that. So tell us, before we get into the business, I want to know a little bit about you. I know you grew up in Verdigris, Oklahoma.
I was actually born here in Tulsa.
Oh, born in Tulsa. I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah, Doctor's Hospital.
Okay.
Lived here, until about 4-ish. Bounced around between Gilcrease Hills area and East Tulsa, was going to graduate from Tulsa East Central and ended up graduating from Verdigris High School.
Okay.
So I had a good view of Tulsa from Gilcrease Hills
Oh,
to
Yeah,
yeah.
East Tulsa.
we
to-
want to talk about that in a
Yeah.
little bit. But
Verdigris.
so you've seen a lot of it.
Yes,
And so, okay, how old are you?
I was born in 1985, and today is my
Jeez.
birthday. I'm 38 years old.
Ooh.
Happy birthday, man. Do we have a birthday song?
Oh, wow.
Just to hear the
don't-
crowd. I'm
I
just
don't
feeding
have
the
it
crowd
ready.
tonight.
Yeah, your crowd's great tonight,
Yeah,
man. I
wow,
love
they're
it.
on fire.
That free liquor thing we did was awesome.
Yeah.
All right, that's paying off. So, married, kids, wives?
Yes, I have.
Tell us the story.
Yeah, I have a beautiful wife. Her name is Amanda, and we were actually friends in middle school. And then we caught back up later in life once I started calming down. And we just had a baby who's a little over 2 years old.
Oh,
and
man.
I'm daddy daycare full time. So my real estate, my number one job in life right now is actually my daughter. And then I would consider my wife and my family kind of my second main job. And then everything's kind of funneled from that and works around that. So then it's kind of my real estate company. And between the real estate, I would say it's short term and long term. And then I own a soccer team. So we'll talk about that a little bit.
Well, I
later.
mean, we hear that a lot,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
but,
it's like,
Everybody's got one.
that's boring.
But really, my wife, our
Sorry.
lives, kind of center around our hobbies and what we like to do because I kind of prioritize my life around what I like to do. I kind
Yeah.
of dabbled in jobs, and then I kind of built a job that encompassed a lot of the favorite things. And then, of course, in short terms, there's nonstop bad things. So
Right.
there's a good balance. It's a healthy balance for sure.
Well, dude, you're in the right spot, man. I was excited to meet you. I like the name. Tell us, Miller by the Driller. Like, how'd you come up with that? You just being that's a
just
cool name.
Playing sports my whole life, I always had Miller on my back, so everyone kind of called me Miller. That's always kind of been my nickname. My wife wanted to live in Midtown, so our first home we bought was in Midtown by the Driller.
Right.
Um,
Over there, 21st Yale. kinda
21st Harvard,
Yeah,
21st Yale. And we updated it, and I kind of did the BRRRR strategy.
area. Right. Yeah.
And
Familiar.
It worked really well.
Right.
And I was like, babe, we got to buy a bunch of homes over here as fast as we can. So we
Right.
started doing that, and it kind of got the nickname Miller by the Driller.
Right.
And you got to find something that sticks, like Cashflows. So
Right.
we started building the business based off Miller by the Driller, and I heard that short-term rentals, because again, I was lurking on other bigger pocket sites and other real estate people sites, and I learned from day one to brand yourself. Don't go off Airbnb or VRBO. You're one bad review from your company completely shutting down, and if your
Right.
company survives off that, one person, whether they're crazy or not, can tear your entire business down.
Right.
And from day one, I started Miller by the Drillering it, as well as Airbnb and VRBO, and learning how to book off-site and protect myself and run a business off of that. So from day one, started saying Miller by the Driller and made sure to introduce myself that way and kind of brand it and apparel it and be out front.
And how
So-
long have you had that name?
I've been using it for like 3 years.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that is an excellent branding piece.
appreciate that.
Yeah. Well done. And you knew what that meant, right? Miller by the
Oh,
Driller.
yeah, right off the top.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, that's pretty cool. So, you're in the real estate business. You
Mhm.
have short-term rentals.
Yes,
So those would be people would know those as Airbnb or
Yep.
VRBO.
absolutely.
And then you have traditional rentals.
Yes.
And then do you do mid and short-term rentals like 3, 6, 9 month kind of things?
So yes, what I learned to do, a gentleman named Steve Brown, shout out.
Hello, Steve Brown.
I do a month-to-month contract because the market can change at any time. My life and my circumstances can change at any time.
Sure.
And I would like to be able to control it within 60 days if I need to. So you can stay as long as you want, but it's going to be a 30-day, 31-day contract, month
Right.
to month for the most part.
So, yeah. So one of the things I really wanted to ask you was what was it like, or were you doing this during COVID? Because I know there were some restrictions about removing people who hadn't paid their rent.
Correct.
And I have a lot of friends that were just beat up by that.
I was very fortunate. I would say Oklahoma, as far as I've heard, we were very fortunate. Some of the heavier states on the coasts, I think we're dealing more with those type people.
Yeah.
But also quality of client. I learned quality of tenant matters. So that's why I buy where I buy.
Right.
Also, I can charge a higher dollar. I have a better quality of person in
Right.
for the most part.
Yeah. I've got a buddy out in Vegas who has, I don't know, a lot of property, and I think he had 20 properties not pay him for 15 months.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
And
I can't imagine. So balance, I'm probably 60-40, I would say, with short term to long term.
right,
So my long terms can almost carry if I have to short terms. But
right.
if my short terms perform, I have an amazing portfolio.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, but you built that portfolio over how many years?
I think our first one would have been 2019. So really, we're in our 4th year of running it. I was fortunate enough to get like 10 homes really quickly,
Ah,
and then slowly burst strategy them using my wife's money
right,
to update these
right,
and invest in the area. So that really helped um, propel our business getting in right before COVID prices really.
right. Tell
Um,
tell our listeners what the Burr method is. I know, but let's make sure that our listeners are familiar with it.
yes, that is where you purchase a home,
Buy it.
you
That's the
buy
B.
it, the
Okay.
first B, and then you can rehab it,
Right,
and then you rent it out,
right.
and then you refinance it.
Because you've developed it into a higher equity position, the house is now more valuable.
Correct. So,
Right,
for example, my neighborhoods, I bought 10 homes between, I would say, 85,000 and 150,000. I put between 20 and 40,000 in each one of those homes, and when I went to the bank, they were worth 200ish
right.
for an average. So,
You may
yes,
want to do 2 of those.
yeah.
Okay, sure.
So we got those taken care of. Learned that worked, and then I just started renting them out as fast as I could.
So long-term rentals on most of those.
Really, a few of them. The further ones away, I long termed.
Yeah,
I didn't want to go out there all the time.
right,
The ones right by the driller, I short termed those. Because small things like trash has to be taken out every Friday.
right.
Sometimes I don't even take out my own trash. So it's an hour long chore on Fridays just to make sure all the trash cans are out
Right,
and then make sure they all come back up.
right,
And you can't expect short term people that don't know what day trash day is they're in. You're not really expecting them to do that anyway. So it's
Right.
kind of a chore you have to take on
right,
that you don't expect.
right.
So getting small things like that taken care of that you don't think of are constantly problems. And then people won't necessarily put recycle in a recycle bin. The
Right.
trash man won't pick it up. So
Yeah.
it backs up on you.
So I bet you have some crazy stories
Absolutely.
about Airbnb and about long-term rentals. Feed us a couple stories. I mean, so we see it on television or we see it on the internet, and Grant Cardone owns, or whoever, I don't know, owns 4,000 houses. But
Yeah.
what's it like in real life when you have a situation?
You
Uh,
can't even imagine.
Yeah, give me some juicy ones.
Well, I had a lady call me at 1 a.m. crying because she couldn't figure out the Wi-Fi password.
Oh, okay,
So woke my family up, and then I had to go over there,
right,
and it was a capital letter. So I learned real quick not to have like fancy words. Welcome to Tulsa.
right,
Your Wi-Fi password's on the modem. You
right,
can type in all those letters and punctuations. I'm not coming up with anything fancy.
right.
So
Yeah,
stuff like
I learned
that.
that one as well.
That one bugged me. Yeah, we've had clogs and the breakers flip, the dryers go out. A lot of people come here from colder states for the horse shows, like
Right.
Montana.
Right,
And when it's 110 in Tulsa and the house is like 82, they're extremely upset because that's hot, and they want it to be 70 degrees inside,
right,
and that's just not possible in Oklahoma
right,
to have that. So the people call and complain that it's too hot or it's too cold even
right,
sometimes in our homes.
right,
So you have to go adapt to that, or at least show you care and try to fix the situation.
right,
I've had people steal when I showed up. Refrigerator's gone, beds are gone. They showed up with a U-Haul apparently. They took the Ring doorbell camera, they took the TVs, they took everything.
wow,
So I can go to court and I can chase them. But Airbnb is just kind of a moderator. They're not going to pay for what happened.
right,
They're just going to try to get chased down, help you get something out of it so that you go away and
right,
keep using the platform.
right,
So theft. Recently, we just had a gentleman that went missing and ended up passing away in one of our
okay,
homes.
so he lived in one of your homes.
Lived in one of my homes. They had a fire at a previous home, and we picked him up for 3 months while theirs was getting rebuilt.
Oh man,
He went missing, and they ended up finding him deceased.
not in your home though.
Not in my home.
Okay,
That's one of the only things I have not had happen yet that I hope.
well, I think
They
that's a
don't.
positive.
Yeah.
To some
It's
degree.
a positive, but it's a possibility, you
Yeah.
know. So I'm aware that it could happen. We've had that. You name it. I mean, we've had it happen at our houses. I had one person that booked, and we've learned trial and error how to get past all this stuff. We've changed our ages, we've changed our amount of stays for people. Um, we had people that booked it for a weekend, and then they showed up about an hour early and asked if they could get in.
Oh, right.
And my wife just sent the code, and then they got in, and they canceled the booking, and then ransacked the place, and then got out.
Oh, wow.
So we've had everything go
Okay.
on that you can
Hmm.
name. The Chili Bowl is one of my best. That's coming up. That's
Yeah,
one of my
we
best
did
times
well
a
with the
year.
Chili Bowl.
You got a whole month of races basically going
Yeah.
on. So you do great. However, you got red dirt and
Yep.
dirt everywhere and everything. And
Yep.
all our sheets are white. So we try to switch to gray around Chili Bowl time to save just a little bit
Right.
of stuff. But I'll trial and error. I had a bunch of family hired in the beginning and had to fire all that, you know.
Yeah.
So we're learning to grow and use professionals over sometimes family, and it just helps.
So
keeping the
so you have a
guidelines.
cleaning team and all of that, and
Yeah.
yard people and handyman, and
Yeah,
you know that's one of the key things with Airbnb type short term rentals is who's your team.
and I tried doing all that myself. So I was mowing 12 yards, I think, on a Saturday by myself. And then
Oh,
it
wow.
became where I needed to prioritize my life with my family first and that time first.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
then it was hard to let go of that cash flow I'd built up because I was mowing all these yards. And then, I'd put signs so I'd get the neighbors' yards. And I wouldn't even turn the mower off. I was just mowing the whole neighborhood. So the
Wow.
cash flow was great.
Yeah.
But I was beat and I wasn't home all day. And
Yeah.
I was drained. So I had to kind of sell off basically and give off parts of jobs and hire out
Right.
cleaning and mowing and all that. Because originally I was trying to do it all. That was
Yeah,
what I wanted to do.
That's an interesting way to go about it, and I don't know what the limit is, but it sounds like whatever 10 or 12 homes is probably a bunch.
Yeah, it was way
And,
too much.
When we got started with Airbnbs, my wife and I went for the first 2 months. We did all the cleaning because I wanted to know,
Hmm.
hey, how do you do this? And I'm not great at cleaning. Like that's not a thing.
Hmm.
And I don't mow things. I don't know. I mean, I guess I know. I have a mower.
Right.
I don't know how to turn it on. I'm sure it's fascinating.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I was always kind of a delegator. But when we did the cleaning, like we went over there together, we wanted to know like how long should this take if you're average.
Hmm.
And then when we built our cleaning protocol, it was like, okay, this should take this many minutes or this whatever.
Hmm.
And and if you don't do it, then you're not our person.
Hmm.
Funny story. The B.O.N.G group was positively impacted by my first Airbnb, and we ran an ad to clean it. And I met a guy that uh, does cleaning, Rob Boyd, and Rob was not the right match for that because I thought he was just far up the food. He was awesome, and we didn't need awesome at Airbnb. We needed pretty good.
Right.
And he was awesome though. Like this is the guy that cleans it like your mom's coming to visit.
Right.
And but he ended up being the first member of the B.O.N.G group.
Wow.
That's now 5,500. We've
Wow.
developed a great long-term friendship, and I really appreciate him. So this B.O.N.G group came from Airbnb. Like when we decided to start, I'm
Wow.
like, hey, Don, you remember me? Like, you want to grab coffee?
That's cool.
And then so that's one of the great positives of Airbnb for us. Is I
Yeah,
met Rob.
cleaners are worth their weight in gold.
Yeah,
Um,
and we ended up putting a pretty good team together, and so I love that area where you are.
Yeah, until that storm came.
Yeah, well,
um,
that negatively impacted
Yeah, that was
a
horrible.
whole bunch of people. So let's talk about the early days of Tulsa, since you grew up here. What about Tulsa as you remember it as a kid? What's it like, and seeing it develop now, and that it's going to double in size in the next 10 years? What's it been like for you watching it grow up?
So I remember a lot about Gilcrease Hills area. Honestly, I was 3, 4 years old, and Academy Central is the little elementary school over that way, and Central High School's right around the corner from there. And there wasn't a lot of, I would say, development at all on the northwest side of
Right,
Tulsa
right,
whatsoever.
right.
And it was a totally different atmosphere going from that community and those community hangouts to go to the east side of Tulsa, where my other side of my family lived,
Right,
basically 121st and 129th.
right.
So two extreme diversity, completely different diverse neighborhoods that I sampled back and forth growing up. And I enjoyed it because I knew all ages and all walks of life. We all had to live together there. And when I went to Verdigris, I was exposed to a whole new um, part of life. I
Was
didn't
that a
even know
culture
existed.
shock for you
It was a
moving out
huge
there?
culture shock because I thought I knew it all from the two areas
Right.
of Tulsa I grew up. And then
Right.
I went out there and it was a whole new culture shock.
Yeah.
But it was super fun to learn to adapt and explore new people and learn different communities and how they support each other differently.
Yeah.
And sampling the Tulsa area, watching Verdigris was my first real experience of watching a community grow.
Okay.
My family built a brand new house out there in 2002, 2003, and we were one of the first new neighborhoods to go into Verdigris. And most of those kids had gone to elementary school to high school together.
Right.
I graduated with 60-something kids from
Wow.
Verdigris, and we had 200-something in my high school class at Tulsa Central. So it was quite a bit different amount of
Right.
people, sports, everything.
Right.
Um,
Well, and just the community feel as well.
the community feel,
tiny
yeah.
town, right?
Tiny town. We had the fire trucks out. The whole town would come out with their cars and park around the field, So it
Yeah.
was totally different than Tulsa Central's big stadium they had built first
Yeah,
before most of Tulsa had
Wow.
nice stadiums. So it was huge difference there. And then I went to college in Oklahoma City. That's what drugged me down there for 10 years. And I got a job selling furniture at Bob Mills Furniture.
Bob Mills Furniture, the working man's friend.
A working man's friend. I was down there because I had a friend show me his paycheck. And I told my mom, I was like, I'm going to go sell furniture. You won't believe how much these people are making.
Right.
And she was like, no, don't do it. But I was after the money at this point. I was
Right.
24, 25 years old, tired of being poor. And I was like, I'm going after the money. And started selling furniture, and I really enjoyed it. It took a trial and error year to
Yeah.
kind of figure it out. But then
Right.
after that, it was super easy. Because those
Yeah.
people are coming in for a reason. It's
Yeah.
not like it's not like you do it every weekend.
Right.
You're
Yeah.
going and you want to be done.
They're not really window shopping.
No, but that's what they're going to tell you.
Yeah.
So you
yeah,
got
we're
to
just
start off
looking.
like that, and it's cool, whatever. So I enjoyed that. Built a good little nest egg. Bought my first house at 81st, 87th and Garnett,
Okay.
and got a really good deal on it. There's a couple that moved out to California and was just sitting on it and couldn't sell it, so we lowballed them, got a decent deal on it. I get phone calls every single day trying to buy it,
Right.
from 1-800 whoever's, and got a good investment and gained equity off, instant equity off the appraisal came in, and I was like, awesome, that was cool. I started renting my house out because I was kind of afraid of paying that mortgage myself, so I had a
Right.
roommate. I traveled the country a little bit and saw the differences in real estate between Louisville, Kentucky, and like California, those two towns.
Right.
Just the amount, cost of living alone, I was like, I'm going back to Oklahoma and I'm buying more houses.
Right.
Like, it's going to catch up. I don't know when or how,
It's
but
coming.
it's coming.
Yeah.
So we came back, and when I lived in Louisville, Kentucky, there's a facade of a house from the 1800s, and wedding photos, senior photos, everybody goes and takes photos at this facade. And I was selling boats at the time at a boat dealership, and it made me think of Tulsa, Oklahoma, with the Driller statue.
Right.
So I was like, when I go back, I'm going to look into possibly getting short-term rentals right there, or selling apparel or trinkets that have to do with the Driller, because nobody does that. So we looked into real estate, found some homes over there for really cheap, and purchased them. And I was going to wrap my truck and sell shirts and apparel because people used to park across the street from the expo and they'd have to walk
Right.
before it got redone.
Yeah.
Right.
So
yeah.
right as my truck was getting done to do all this apparel, it was going to be called Oil Derrick's Apparel. They redid the front of the expo and they created all the parking there. So
Oh,
people
yeah.
quit coming and parking in front of my houses to
Right.
walk over.
Right.
So at that point, our baby was coming and we were going to buy a family vehicle. My wife's like, what do you want? What do we need? What do we want to get? And I was looking at all these cars and like, what do we want to get? We're real estate people. You got to have a cool car. You got to impress people, whatever. But growing up, I always wanted Tom Cruise's race cars from Days of Thunder.
Okay.
And I talked to my wife, who supports me more than she probably should, and she let me wrap all three of our cars like Days of Thunder
All
race
right.
cars.
Very
Wow.
cool.
So my work cars are wrapped like Days of Thunder race cars. The downside of that was I started getting tickets from the city
Because
because
you look fast just sitting there.
that's it. But they said that I'm a commercial vehicle in a neighborhood.
Oh.
So I've kind of got a conundrum now that I drive my favorite cars, but the city sees them as commercial. So I'm dealing with that, and they're chasing me around. But I drive my dream cars every day of my life. So
Well, that's a good
it's
story.
pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. All right. So you've had some jobs. I mean, Like I enjoy hearing you sold furniture. I think that's great. And you sold boats,
Sold boats. Sea
Well,
Ray was
okay.
a boat company I worked for in Louisville, Kentucky.
right?
Sold some boats.
What else have you done work wise?
Started out dishwasher for a senior assisted living center.
Okay.
That was my very first job that I worked. And
So
then,
this high school time kind of?
yeah, 16-ish, 17,
Yeah.
and got a job at Quick Trip.
All right.
Shout out.
Yeah.
Honestly, super loved that job. I just worked really hard. Cleaning trucker toilets was like, you can't pay me enough, you know?
Right. Yeah.
So like that was kind of hard to leave that job because the community, my friends, my family, no one looks down on Quick Trip,
Right.
you know? And to chase my dream was to play soccer. So I left to go to Oklahoma City to play college soccer. That's where I kind of went down there. Then I got in, I could come back to Quick Trip, but I had an opportunity to sell furniture. I knew what I was going to make at Quick Trip. I knew what I could make there.
Right.
So I just kind of made
And that turned out to be the right gamble for you, right?
Yeah, honestly, it taught me how to kind of more work with people. So like a gas station attendant, I just have to tell you hello and then
Right.
ring you up right and get you out quick.
Right.
I like that. Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up? I like that. Furniture, I have to kind of get to know you, understand your purpose, and then help you and take care of you before and after the sale.
Right.
So it kind of taught me business there. However, I love design. I love furniture, so I like decorating my homes. I still get to do that. I go furniture shopping all the time. So I've kind of worked that into my job. I still clean a lot, like Quick Trip. I like to keep
Right.
things clean and
Right.
check the corners and keep all that. So I'm still doing a combination of all that.
Right.
But those were basically, I worked at Red Lobster for a short time,
Cheddar Bay biscuits,
bouncing
man.
around. Oh, I was smashing those biscuits, and you know, you can get grilled shrimp. Oh, I was eating grilled shrimp every day.
That's
so
okay. That's the good life.
yeah, they asked me, they're like, you don't have any serving experience? I'm like, no. They're like, why are you here? I'm like, I like shrimp. Like, if I'm gonna sell anything, I might as well sell something I like.
Yeah,
so,
I
so
mean,
that's
why
where
not?
it really started, was selling there, and then chase the money with furniture. I wanted to build a food truck. I jumped on that train for a while, started doing that. Had a good friend and mentor, Josh Juarez. Shout out to Josh Snowshack. He kind of told me, man, I would stay away from food as much as you can because that's a lot more variables.
Yeah.
He says, dude, I freeze ice and flavor it and it's over. Like,
Yeah.
that's it. So I was
Right.
trying to streamline it to do a drink truck possibly. Then I moved back to Tulsa, started buying houses, and now I use my truck as a work truck for mowing equipment, furniture deliveries, and building and stock. Right now, it's got a huge 60-inch dining table I don't have anywhere to put, so it's just holding the furniture for right now for me.
Got it. I mean, so there was a moment you could have gone the other direction, right? I mean, you could have
Oh,
come back
yeah.
and got an easy job with Quick
Yeah.
Trip, and
Quick Trip, and even so, I talked Bob Mills, and well, Bob Mills did it. I just went with him. I came to Tulsa. I set up in the parking lot where Josh Snowshack was at 71st and Garnett, and sold furniture for another year. And I just really didn't have it in me to do that again because it was every holiday, every weekend I was there. I didn't, no family time if there was going to be a family.
Right.
It was just strictly money, and I built up enough. I felt like I could leave, so we left on good terms, and I started straight on entrepreneuring from there.
man, that's a great story. Like it's hard to leave the comfort. It's hard to keep both feet on first base and steal second base.
Yeah, for sure.
Everybody
For
wants to
sure.
make that leap, though,
hmm
and you just have to choose. Am I going to go for it? What if I get thrown out?
Yeah.
So, well, good on you for doing that. We are here with Kyle Miller, Miller by the Driller, real estate guru here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And we're going to take a quick commercial break. Mr. Kenneth, who do we have today?
Well, today we're going to talk about Elevate Coworking, which is also in Tulsa. Elevate Coworking is where local business owners connect, collaborate, and grow. We offer a community of tools and resources to fuel your passion and your productivity. Elevate your future with us, where success is not just achieved, but celebrated together.
Well done, sir. Elevate is a great place. I moved in here a year and 3 months ago. And, this is a real estate play. This is co-working. Lady rents the place
These
out.
are getting more and more popular.
Yeah, I
These
think
co-working
we're
places.
going to, I wanted to get your opinion on a place like this, but I moved here. And, there's a lot more than just a place to stick your desk. We have this co-working space. We're in the podcast room at Elevate
Yeah.
Co-working today. I'm so thankful that this is part of my work environment, that this is part of the deal.
Mm-hmm.
And
great.
we have a kitchen, and we have a training room, like two big conference rooms, and that all comes with a membership at Elevate. And I'm not trying to promote Elevate
Yeah.
necessarily, but we love being here.
Oh, yeah.
And the person that runs it, Lori Zeller, I mean, we've become friends, and we're just what's great about this is there's other people here.
That's it. There's always something going on, it looks like.
Yeah, and we get to hang out a little bit. The other
Yeah.
morning we had, I don't remember, 12 or 13 people at breakfast. She'll come in once a week or once a month and put on a spread, and I look around like, man, that room is full.
Right.
And there's a lot of neat people here, and she's got some neat ways to let people use this facility, and she feels about entrepreneurs the same way. So what do you think about commercial real estate? Because this is a commercial play that we're in.
I'm very interested in it. Funding is something I'm always making sure I have before I jump anywhere.
Right.
Right now, I'm kind of working on streamlining and reinforcing what I have to keep it controlled.
Right.
Because I guess I actually did get some commercial real estate. I own it. I bought a gas station called Tall Chief out at Skiatook Lake.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Some really good friends of mine wanted to go in on this gas station and buy it together. And I usually don't like going in on stuff together. But they're a super fun group of people. And honestly, I've never had a job or a business that I've owned that's just been so fun every time we try to tackle solutions that it's just great. It's a good relief to take the chaos from the other businesses and just focus on that one for a little bit. It's always fun.
And that's near the lake.
Yeah, it's where you go get your beer and ice right before you hit the water.
Okay.
It's actually been in a movie. Eva Longoria shot there called Unplugging, about the family takes all their cell phones away and go out to the country, and
probably not a bad idea.
it's
Ooh.
So the whole movie was shot in the lobby of our gas station and parking lot.
How cool is that?
Super cool. I'm gonna have it playing on loop inside the station this summer.
Yeah, very cool.
But we want to have like Jeep events there. It's a good outdoor camping water space. So we want to develop and grow on that. So yes, I actually own commercial real estate, I guess. And
I think there's room in a portfolio like yours for commercial. Like this is sort of like a corporate Airbnb, because she buys the place and then she rents it out to people like me. And I'm just curious about it because I don't know enough about it. And I think that, the COVID times, COVID showed the world that we don't have to have a 20,000 square foot office.
Correct.
And it reduced the footprint, the economic footprint of corporate style real estate. And I think it moved it down the food chain a little bit to things like co-working.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just getting started to where that's really a thing. I think the world has slowly come back from COVID. Commercial real estate slowly came back from COVID. But I don't see them building a whole bunch of giant new commercial retail spaces right now. And maybe they are, and I'm just not aware. But I love this concept.
No, just off you saying that, me going to Oklahoma City for 10 years, there's a Dell corporate center off of I-40 and I-44 area in Oklahoma City.
Right.
And that place used to be packed, 5 days a week.
Right.
And now you rarely see cars there, and it's a massive campus.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're right. And these places are popping up. A lot of my friends that own businesses are jumping in these small things.
I love this concept. It's been interesting. It's been great for me. I'll just say it's been great for me. Where my one of my last offices was 11,000 square feet, and down in Austin where we're from, or where we were at the time, and it was expensive and it was hard and always on the grind, and and then like we left. I mean, I'm in a 180 square foot office now.
Right.
And but I actually get to keep some of the money that
There you
earn.
go.
You know,
There you go, yeah.
they didn't tell you that you're supposed to. It's not how much you make; it's how much you keep.
Right.
I learned that. There you go. We got the dollar sign playing
Ka-ching.
right there. So you said you lived all over Tulsa,
Mm-hmm.
Verdigris. Do you have other family still in this area?
So yes, my father lives at the 91st and Garnett area house. My mother still lives in Verdigris. And then outside that, I have some aunts and cousins and uncles. They live some live out in California, and then others live in Maine.
Right.
So all over, really. And then best friends like Washington area and Texas. So a good diverse range of the United States real estate.
So you've been all over the U.S. then, if you're out seeing your friends.
Yes.
So you're a traveler.
I like to travel. We're just very busy. We mostly travel with soccer. We play in tournaments all over.
So you still play.
I still play as much as I can.
Another
Cool.
fully grown adult. with childlike
I
behavior, just like
appreciate you
me.
calling me fully grown. That's
Well,
rare.
I don't know if any of us ever is, but we made it this far, however far
Yeah,
this
no.
is.
So Oklahoma actually has pro indoor. It started back up this year. They're based out of Oklahoma City. So my wife's a tremendous athlete. So my wife is kind of the main owner, but she's a player right now. So I'm the main owner. We have two other owners that work with us, but we own. It's called the Oklahoma Oblivion Channel Cats. We are Oklahoma's professional indoor team. We're going to have two semi-pro teams under them, one based in Tulsa, one based out of Oklahoma City. But we're going to grow the women's professional sport indoors, like we were talking about earlier.
Right.
The main reasons I like it is a lot of youth can play this, and you can play it till you're 40, 50 indoors.
Right.
You don't see outdoor
Right.
people playing that long.
Right.
There was just a tournament a couple weekends ago here in Tulsa. It got rained out, and you should have seen how many people were upset that it got rained out. Indoor, you don't have to worry about it. Our
Right.
game is there and done.
So is that just women's soccer?
Currently, yes, for that we deal with. There is a men's program. They're called the
Right.
Certified Lions out of Oklahoma City. They actually won the national tournament last year.
Okay.
In Louisville, Kentucky. So we just had our game opener last week in Dallas. We dropped it, but it's okay. It meant a lot more to those Dallas women. It was a largest stadium for a pro indoor game for women in the United States, as far as I know, ever. And we lost 4-3 in a great battle, but it meant more to those women in their home.
Yeah,
than
good
we
for them.
realized. Good for them.
Hey,
You know,
give it
I
all
can-
you got
I can
and
take it.
shake hands
and-
after.
Right, and now they got to come back to us. So I'm more than happy with the way it went down. And our group of women, we're going to make some waves this year and grow the sport of indoor
Now,
soccer.
so where
for
is
sure.
the stadium in Oklahoma City?
It is on I-40. It's called ISA Let's Play. It's an indoor
Okay.
arena there.
Right.
And then we practice at the Soccer City of Oklahoma City.
Now, you don't own that building? You have to lease that building for the team?
Absolutely. We rent it. Everything is we're a nonprofit organization, but we rent fields to practice. We raise money to feed them and house them and clothe them, basically.
Wow.
Get them to where they need to go.
Cool. Our first soccer team owner. We made jokes about it, but
Right.
you're our first.
Awesome.
You know, I mean,
Glad I can be here. That's what I'm trying to do is make waves and stay out front, you know, and as long as you're running, I learned that from Quick Trip. Just keep going, keep adapting, and nobody's going to catch you if you just keep going, keep adapting.
So how much time does your soccer business take out of your schedule?
A lot. The good thing is it's about 4 months a year, really. It hits hard.
Right.
So December to March, every other weekend, we'll go from Houston to San Antonio to Wichita to Dallas. And then the national tournaments, first week in April, maybe second week in April in Cincinnati this year. Practices are Wednesday night from 9 to 11 in Oklahoma City, so we're typically down there. My wife usually works Wednesday or Thursday in Oklahoma City, so we try to time it to stay the night so that she can work, so that we're not just driving back and forth all
Yeah,
the time.
yeah. You get road rage if you spend too much time on the.
Yeah.
I know
And
that's right.
We have plenty of that.
Yeah.
We cage that and harness that really well. I mean, it's one thing to learn how to argue and negotiate healthy face to face.
Yeah.
It's another when you're driving a car
That's right.
and you have all these other factors involved.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
6,000 or 8,000 pounds
we
of
have a
steel.
very strong bond, you know.
All right. So where do you guys like to go together? You said you've traveled a lot. Do you have a favorite place?
You know, honestly, we really enjoy going to Vegas and playing soccer there. There's a lot of great restaurants.
I love
And,
Vegas
you know, when
for
you're
food.
playing soccer, you're not necessarily drinking and sleeping all the time. So you can get up and hit great restaurants and get in and out in a decent manner. So I definitely love Vegas from what I know, but I went on a cruise one time to like Belize and Honduras.
Right.
So like those views are like what you like to look at, you know, I would say. So I like them for the views. But I'm also being an entrepreneur, like I just can't go on vacation very long.
Right.
I'm constantly thinking that I'm missing out on building my future. And I'm like stressed out a lot
Yeah.
when I go on vacation for too long. So 2 or 3 days, I'm good. I'm ready to come home and keep working.
Okay. I respect that. You know, it took me a little while to be able to just let it all go.
hmm
And you know, I mean, I'm 62 now. I'm good. We can go for a month if you need to.
Right.
And
I'm looking forward to that.
well, I like that freedom to be able to do that. And yeah, it still costs money to go do that, like time away from business.
Yeah.
But you can get that money back. But
Correct.
you can't get the time back with your family.
Crazy enough, I left on a Friday to go to Florida this summer, and my phone had died because we traveled all day, and that's dangerous if you're an Airbnb guy.
Yeah.
But I was on vacation. It's one night
Right.
with my family. It's okay. My wife brought one charger. It's on her side of the bed. I'll deal with it in the morning. I woke up, plugged in my phone, and there was 40 text messages, and that was the night the storm hit.
Oh no.
So Saturday morning, we're supposed to enjoy our first morning on vacation.
Oh no.
I was refunding all the money, and all the guests were scared. They're panicked. Their horses
Yeah.
are hurt at the barns.
Right.
Like, they're leaving. There's no heat. There's no water. There's trees blocking the road everywhere.
Right.
So it was like complete chaos. And then another one that I had left town previously in Vegas, and we had all the guests were in town because we try to leave town when the houses are full.
Right.
There's nothing I can do besides sit and wait.
Right.
So it's better just to leave town and let the powers be take care of it.
Right.
But last time we left town, we had AT&T had switched our accounts from business or from personal to business because we were growing.
Right.
And that wasn't paid. All the internets were off. All the people were in town upset. So we're
Oh,
having to deal with
that's-
AT&T
Right.
to reactivate and pay all these things online from far away. So
Right.
a lot of times when I go, it's a gamble if it's going to be twice as chaotic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or
for
if it's
sure.
going to be okay. When it goes smooth, it's fantastic.
Right.
You know, you come back and all the houses are dirty, but everything's good.
Right.
You know?
Right. Very cool. So, any regrets in real estate?
No, I think honestly, I think a lot of regrets come from exterior opinions.
Right.
You learn every time. You know, there's not really there are bad real estate deals, don't get me wrong, but real estate's so forgiving that I have no regrets in what I've done through real estate,
Yeah.
for sure.
Well, that's a cool story.
Maybe not wrapping my cars to get in trouble. You know, that's kind of a gray area, and I'll probably deal with that for a while. But other than that, I have no regrets. I'm very proud with the way that we've built it and the research that I went into or did prior to doing all this, and just 100% believing in what I'm going to do and staying out front of
Yeah.
anyone trying to. Like, I know what margins people have to deal with because I bought houses over that time frame. I know what their payments should be and what they are making. I can see what they bought the home for.
Right.
And I know that my rates, according to those times, should be pretty accurate. And that's what was cool is after I got a couple appraisals, I didn't need the bank's info anymore
Right.
because I had all I needed. They're my appraisals are what the bank's going off of. I'm buying
Right.
so many in the same neighborhood.
Yeah.
You're using my numbers, you know?
Right.
So I
Yeah,
knew
so
what was
you,
coming.
You had your own comps going.
Yeah,
at it,
I had my own comps constantly. And then if you outbid me on the house, the comp was great anyways.
Right.
So,
So there's a win there as well.
there's a win. Yeah.
So what's the end game with real estate for you?
You know, originally I thought I wanted 50 homes Airbnb. But when I got to 15 and I was doing all these check-ins on a Friday and Wi-Fi passwords and like just
Right.
realizing how much that took, I kind of started pivoting. And then it kind of made me step back and think like, how big am I trying to build this empire? Am I
Right.
trying to feed my kid? Am I trying to feed their kids? Am I trying to travel forever? Like, how much money do I really need? So that's kind of when I started actually scaling back and just wanting to get better at what I'm doing.
Right.
So I kind of think like I'm not necessarily to the end of my real estate game. I'll always grow and buy, but I'm not doing it at a pace to where I'm trying to build for my future anymore.
Got it.
I'm just trying to finish it off, and one day if I am tired of it, then I can sell it off
Just
if I
sell it
have
off
to.
and scrape the equity out
Right.
and go home.
Yeah, but again, I'd rather work for myself all day, every day than
Yeah.
anybody else,
man,
even if it is middle of the night, 90 hours a week. And
You ever think
whatever.
about apartment complexes? Is that something you've ever looked into?
I have. The more I watch stuff, I'm like, man, should I have just done that? You know?
Yeah, go pick up a couple hundred
'Cause,
units and
yeah, I've heard if you got a plumbing problem, you got one big plumbing bill, but you got 100 doors working.
yeah.
As opposed to every house I have, I've had to redo or update plumbing. All my
Right.
homes were 1940s, 1960s.
Yeah.
I had to go through with PEX on almost every home.
Right.
They're all raised floors, so it saves me a lot of money and
Right.
headache.
Right.
But still, like, I dug a couple trenches to the street myself. I'm like,
Oh,
you know,
okay.
but I learned it. I've been under homes for an hour and a half repiping, doing all these old drains that they used to have in the tubs. Like you were saying, you cleaned it all. You want to know exactly
Yeah,
what they're doing.
I wanted to know how it
I
worked.
wanted to know. So I was under the homes. And I even had a plumber who was like, dude, you're the first real estate agent that has ever been under a home in a full body suit doing this, digging under the foundation.
Right.
And I'm like, dude, I got to know what you're doing. If I'm going to pay for it, I got to know.
Yeah, and that way when you have a problem down the road, you know, like Vanilla Ice used to say, if there's a problem, I'll solve it.
There you go.
There we
That's
go.
it.
Did you like that?
That was good.
Okay.
It's one of my heroes.
Yeah, cool. Hey, man. Dump the zero, get with the hero. All right, tell us about your Mount Rushmore of real estate. Who are the people on your mountain that you admire? And I know you've given a couple shout outs today.
Yeah,
I'm glad you did that. Thank you, by the way.
absolutely. I definitely believe in it's hard not to get jealous when a lot of people or other people have success, and that's not sugarcoating it. It is, and I think that's one of the problems people have growing their empire sometimes is that they're not necessarily maybe jealous of other people, but it's just hard to compare and not. So some people that have been there from the beginning before any of us had anything, Silas Brooks and Steve Brown, we met up early stages. Silas actually worked with my wife at the hospital back
Okay.
before he even did any real estate.
Right.
Um, so we've kind of held each other accountable and always checked with each other and making sure one or the other's working hard. So they would at least be on the plaque below that would talk about it.
Yeah.
But really, I think it would have to be a mix between my wife and Jesus, probably. Like,
Yeah.
she probably wouldn't be too proud of how it looked, but she's kind of the whole reason this is spinning. It might have my dad's body. Because my dad, he believed in me from the beginning. So it
Yeah.
kind of looked like that, something weird. But my dad was the first one that was living in a home. And I said, Dad, let me buy this. He was thinking about moving.
Right.
And I said, let me buy it. Let me get it appraised. I'll give you a fair deal because I want to turn this into a rent home. And that was the one in Gilcrease Hills.
Right.
So I purchased that, updated it, and got a tenant and bird it
Right.
and took that money out and bought another home. So really with my dad helping me get it rolling and then my wife making money enough to
Right.
update these homes and keep it rolling.
Right.
Those two are the main reasons I think that I'm here. And then just a light for my wife and myself would be worshiping and being very thankful for how blessed we are with.
Oh, dude.
Every
yeah.
time I think my bank account's for sure going to be empty, it just keeps showing up. And I'm very fortunate for that,
Yeah.
and it's even at Christmas here, my wife's like, hey, I want to donate this and do this with this money. And I'm like, we got all the taxes about to come out,
Yeah.
and I'm like, okay, go do it. So, and it always works out. And that's what I've learned is just like, especially if she wants to do it, just
Right.
it'll work out.
She's sort of like your business partner then.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you guys
Oh my gosh.
roll through it together.
Yeah. And you think it would be easy, but like paint color, tile color, we had all those fights in the beginning.
Yeah.
And we didn't need to.
We don't call them fights. We call them spirited conversations.
Oh, yes.
Spirited fellowship.
That's it. Spirited
Heavily,
fellowship.
yes. Filled with passion, yes. But literally everything. And now it's great because she doesn't care. I could put whatever tile in there. She knows.
She trusts you.
Yeah. And in the beginning, it was, it was all our hard-earned money. So it was super. Like, she wanted to know every inch of that house
Right.
and every item that went into it. And, when we first started out, we spent way more money decorating these things by the time we got finished.
Right.
And then lastly, I would say there's a gentleman who's the head coach of my pro team. They did Airbnb in Denver, Colorado area and moved here. And the first thing he did was buy one.
Yeah.
And since I knew them, they were doing it. I had a house I was renting out long term. I was like, and Silas and Steve were doing real estate stuff, and I knew rates and kind of understood a couple big terms and burst strategy.
Right.
I was like, I'm going to do it. All these people are doing it. I'm going to do it. So a miniature Bong network.
Yeah, for
we
sure.
had, and we pulled the trigger. And I tell everybody a lot of times, like even my real estate test, I took it 5 times. I didn't want to study. I was going to go take it, and I was going to fail it. Ready, aim, watch me. Boom.
Yeah.
Almost passed. Almost passed again. Almost passed again. My wife said, how many times are you going to take this? And I said, watch. Then I barely missed it one more time by 1 point.
Oh.
And I was like, trust me.
I'm feeling that,
So
man.
yeah, so I went back and I nailed it really good that time. And that's what it is fire, because there's so many people that won't even fire.
That's right.
And if
man.
you just tell them you're about to take a funny shot, somebody's going to watch, and you may inspire somebody else to jump in.
Yeah.
And those people may outdo me and help me one day. So
Right.
I have no problem being the first one to get out there. And
Well, there's a great being an inspiration to somebody else, even just a little bit. And if all we help them do is take a baby step, not a perfect step, but a progress step, you never really know how far that influence goes.
never.
When you get involved in something and it opens somebody else up to the possibility, like, oh look, man, Kyle did it, and if Kyle did it, maybe I can do it.
Hmm.
And so your light shines out there for people to follow, and so thank you for that.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
Well,
Providing resources.
Providing resources, man. That's I think in life we're all either a faucet or a drain.
Yeah.
and I think, what it sounds like to you, you're a guy that's really pouring back into your family, your community, and that I think what you're doing is inspiring, and we're excited to get this show out on the road.
Yes, me too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Kyle, thank you for being here today. Mr. Kenneth, are you ready to wrap this up and send this home?
Yes, sir.
Is it time?
It is time.
That's why my dogs, I have given these little treats when I say, "Is it time?" And they jump around like idiots. So thank you for that. I'd like to record that. That was pretty funny.
Yeah. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time.
Well, we're glad you're here. Let's do the outro here, man. We'll and by the way, thank you everybody for that is listening to this and participating and downloading these.
Mhm.
We have had a great start with Cashflows, and thanks, Kenneth. Just thanks again for
Yeah.
being here for the ride, man.
You're
There's
welcome.
a lot of times you realize in life there is just no way we can do all of this alone, and I'm glad that we don't have to.
Behind the scenes over there, we appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. We appreciate all of our sponsors today: Elevate Coworking and Kenneth Bockham and Clarence Shaw at cmcustoms.com. Thanks for all you guys do. Thanks to our B.O.N.G members, and for the 3 of you that carry on and continue to like our posts on a weekly basis. To the 3 of you, we say, hey, man, we're running over to Quick Trip. Y'all need any jerky or anything? That's all I got for you today.
That's our show for today. Stay tuned for another riveting edition of Cash Flows.